Hey everyone, Alex here. You're probably wondering why you're listening to me talk and not hearing the guitar tones you're trying to create on your Fractal device with the infamous Guitar Center riff, which is set up by the joke in the corner. I did get a copyright flag playing this intro, but one of the claimants was a Frank Locutus of Australia The Voice, someone who had no hand in creating this or doing anything with it really. So why send our ad dollars to him when we can circumlocute the issue and put a little twist on the famous riff? That's what I've done, and you can hear that when we listen to the guitar tones later in the video or following the timestamps on the timeline. Enjoy! Hello everyone, and welcome back to Tutorials of Tone. My name is Alex. Thank you so much for watching this video. We're covering Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses in this video. We're going to talk about this preset that's sort of an amalgam of the slash preset in the Fractal devices and some of my live tips and tricks to make this a little more usable and user-friendly. Let's dive right in. First up is the input block. Very different settings than I would normally use, although the threshold of the gate is at negative 47.5 dB, where I like it for my Morse Music Man guitars. The ratio is 4:1 instead of 2:1, as it would normally be for me, and the release is at 100 milliseconds. This particular amp, especially with the bright switch engaged, I, even on the neck pickup, have fought against feedback. This gate sort of helps against that. Next up, we have the pitch block set to a virtual capo. Maybe you have to switch between tunings, maybe you have a different singer, or someone calls this in standard of D instead of the record key of D flat. You have the option on a foot switch to hold and either bypass or engage the pitch block, and we have a scene ignore function set up so that this will remain true throughout all of your scenes, and we're not going to be changing keys on you. Very, very helpful. As the pitch block is in front of the amp, there is no level makeup gain. Set your input detector source to input 1 instead of block in, and since we're using this on single note lines, set the pitch tracking to fast. It should also be noted that I do have a high cut of 10K on this block, just to help with that high-end feedback. Next up, we have the Crybaby Wah. This is set to slash specifications as per the factory preset. We have 420 Hz min and 2100 Hz max on our wah range. Our control is set up to expression 1 and has auto engage set to medium position, so you don't have to worry about the toe down thing. Nothing on the graphic EQ, and that sounds like this. A very classic combo of Crybaby into Marshall tone. Moving into our drive block, this is engaged with our lead scene. It's a T808 overdrive. This is a tube screamer. This is what slash uses to drive the front of the amp and color those lead tones. Our drive is down significantly at 1.41. Our level is up a bit to compensate. Nothing happening in the tone, graphic EQ, or the advanced tabs. Now we move into the amp that we're going to utilize for both our lead scene and our rhythm scene, with one minor difference. We have a bright switch set up to a modifier, a scene controller. For scenes 1 and 2, this is turned on. Scene 2 is our clean. And for scene 3, our rhythm, this bypasses. We will hear an example of that later. We have an 80 Hz low cut and a 10K high cut on this amp. Nothing to speak of in the output EQ. Everything is running into a 4x12 TV mix number 1, set Marshall. Wonderful Marshall sounding thing. Factory IR. Sounds great. Legacy number 131. If you're a Marshall person wanting the modern Marshall thing, that's a good place to start. we have a low cut of 36.4 and 11.6K. This again is designed around the factory preset from Guns N' Roses. Nothing to speak of in the room or air tab, and since we only have one IR, we don't really need to utilize the distance or phasing and aligning. For my clean tone in the verses, I have a Brit JM45. You can stay on your neck pickup, and you just have a little bit of power amp distortion, but we want to keep this pretty pristine and pretty clean like the record. For our clean tone, we have an analog stereo chorus at stock settings with -3 dB on our level because it was adding signal and we wanted everything at unity gain. We have an enhanced block as per the Guns N' Roses preset, 29% width, 29-ish % depth, and 100 Hz low cut, 2K on the high cut. This really helps just fatten the sound a little bit. We have a large hall reverb, pretty stock settings here for the large hall, and we have a level of -17.5, so it's not completely overtaking the sound. But you can hear that big wash because, I mean, they're playing stadiums. You can get close to that with this large hall. As you heard in that tick, our lead scene does have a digital mono delay set to 500 milliseconds. We're not quantizing this at all to our BPM, which is 125. It's just a little offset, just an ambience. So we have that set to -15 dB. We also have a filter block, which is set up to a control switch. As you can see, when I'm on my lead scene, it is not automatically engaged. When you start the tune, you're by yourself. You don't need to compete. You're more playing a motivic line than you are a solo. But at the end, when you take your big solo, you tap back to lead from your rhythm sound, you hold the switch, you get a nice level boost. Very nice to have on any preset for any lead boost you may need. Well, now that we've heard all of that yakety yak, let's hear this in context by hearing all of these tones back to back. We're going to hear the lead, which we are on our neck pickup. It's a neck humbucker. Then we're switching to our clean. I'm going to stay on the neck, switch to a blend between neck and bridge, then just bridge, then out to our rhythm tone, and then we'll compare rhythm and lead tones. Here we go. And then we're going to mute on our lead scene our drive and delay blocks and hear that difference in this same amp switching the bright switch on and off. quite in your face, yeah? Well, we can take that bright cap down a little bit so that when this is engaged, we're not taking off so many heads. I'm going to put that at 450 instead of 1,000, and that really helps take that back and may end up solving my feedback issues. Just in case, I had rolled down to the high treble, -2.5 dB. Well, that about does it for this video. I hope this was useful for you, and I hope you can use this on your next gig, whether you have your E-flat Les Paul ready to go, or someone just calls an audible and says, oh, we're playing this in D-flat today, or D. You can switch, you can have your tones dialed in, and just get back to playing that riff that will get you banned from any guitar store. If you enjoyed this video, there are plenty more videos throughout the channel. Fractal 101, tutorials of tone, gear reviews, playthroughs, etc. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next time.